Hey everybody, I'm Dan.
I'm Elisa.
And this is our JRPGLife.
And today we're going to take you through our comprehensive Final Fantasy collection.
Everything. So we're going to go console by console, and if we're missing something critical in our collection, make sure you let us know what we're missing in the comments below. Let's get started. We're going to start with our Final Fantasy Special Edition shelf because we like displaying some of our favorite items. And right at the top we have our wonderful Kate Sith with a posable statue along with the Cloud. This is the Final Fantasy VII Remake First Class Edition. And then some of our music boxes, we have more music boxes if you want to grab those. But along with just some neat things like this is propaganda from...
It's from a PC release.
A PC gaming, check that out. It's not one you see very often because it was in a PC Gamer magazine. Like, how cool is that? From Elisa's childhood, we have the collector's video for Final Fantasy VII. It has some Saga Frontier and Bushido Blade and tactics info on it too.
Now, there is a t-shirt that comes with this. It's not here, but I do know where it is.
It's back home.
Yeah.
And then also the Final Fantasy VII, this is the PC version. So we made sure to have that as well. Going down to the next shelf, we have Final Fantasy 16. We like to kind of rotate this out. Right now, 16 lives here for the most part. We have the Ifrit and Phoenix statue.
Most of these items are from the collector's edition.
Yeah.
For Final Fantasy 16, with the exception of these front figures. We have Ash from 12.
This is Yojimbo, one of my favorite summons from 10. How cool is he? And then a unique Final Fantasy All-Stars. This is a Moogle light. We love Moogles. Check this out. When you remove it, his light comes on. When you set him back down, it goes off. So, on, off.
We have every Final Fantasy complete in box, including the Super Nintendo ones. There's Final Fantasy 2, 3, which of course these are 4 and 6 in Japan. And then we have Mystic Quest, which is kind of a Final Fantasy game, but we count it.
It's baby's first RPG.
Yeah. And there's the original Final Fantasy, and we have some Super Famicom editions that didn't make it to the US, but we love having a physical copy for our collection. So we have this really cool, from the Dissidia games, the Warrior of Light. It's a little bust statue. So these front three are actually Saga games, but they were released as Final Fantasy games for basically marketing purposes. Final Fantasy Adventure is actually the first Secret of Mana game. Bottom shelf has these two VHS anime tapes. These were basically the story after Final Fantasy V.
And they're not very good.
Yeah, and they are very fan servicey for the time, and they're pretty cheesy. But if you have a way to watch them like for free, then you should do that. And then we have some really interesting items down here. There's, of course, the Final Fantasy games on Game Boy Advance. And so it's basically everything but Final Fantasy 3. So we have 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then Tactics. Some interesting items in here are Final Fantasy X for the PlayStation Vita. This was a Japanese exclusive. We have a DSi for Final Fantasy's Echoes of Time. It's got just a little tiny cat and a crystal on it, and it's all white. It's beautiful. This is Final Fantasy on the Wonder Swan, and it's mainly all white, but it's just got a tiny little Warrior of Light up top. Lastly, in here we have the 3DS Final Fantasy Explorers Collector's Edition.
So Setzer's here to remind you that in addition to loving Final Fantasy, he would love it if you subscribe to our channel. We're doing our best to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and
with your help, you can get us there.
Do it for him. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you so much. Up top, we have a lot of display edition stuff. So, of course, the most important part of every Final Fantasy collection is the Pixel Remaster Collector's Edition. This was shadow dropped at like 1 a.m. US time, so most people didn't get this. We didn't get it either. We had to buy it on the secondary market back when it was only like $300, so we were very fortunate to at least have that, and the record in this is what it's all about. It's all about the vinyl.
Only $300.
Only. Now it's well above that. We love collecting. We have this like kind of side collection goal of collecting every Final Fantasy edition display box, like maybe not every version of it, but one of each, and we have some of them already, right? We have Final Fantasy IV. This is the big box GBA display. We got it at a local store that shut down now for like $20.
Yeah.
Up here we have one Final Fantasy thing, and it's Final Fantasy X-2, the big box display. It's beautiful. We have the Final Fantasy 13-2 display box we recently picked up at a Bookman's in Tucson. Lastly, we have this guy. This is a Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls big box. We haven't unfolded it yet because it's huge. We don't know where to put it.
It's never been displayed before.
Never. Need to do a really quick mention about the app called Goodies. Goodies is our favorite place to buy brand new video games for under market value. In fact, specifically, we all know that this game has been stuck on the Wii U for way too long, and they're finally re-releasing it on Switch. Well, right now, if I go to the Goodies app, I can pre-order Xenoblade Chronicles X for $45. That's real. There's no catch. You get that plus a small shipping and tax fee, and it's way cheaper than going to buy it everywhere else. It's all US-based app and company, so make sure you download the Goodies app, use our QR code, or click the link in the video description and the pinned comment, and we hope to see you in there. Let's go play some RPGs. We do have some display items as well that we've just kind of put in places, like the 30th edition, 30th anniversary Chocobo, some of the summons. The coolest thing is it has Terra on Magitech armor. How cool is that? But there's a lot more that we don't have of this. Maybe someday. Also on the wall, my favorite Final Fantasy, I know, roast me in the comments, Final Fantasy 13. The faceplate. We didn't buy the console because all you really need is a faceplate, otherwise it's just a box. But we love this. There's one more big display we have. This one isn't in the perfect condition, but it's good enough for us, and we're very happy.
Price.
It was definitely the right price. This is the Final Fantasy VIII. My other favorite. My favorite drops between 13 and 8. So, Final Fantasy VIII, the big standee, of course. It's missing all the little things on the outside, but otherwise it's in pretty good condition, so it's a big guy. We also have this random centerpiece above our TV. It's an original cloud picture, framed. The frame's a little scratched, but you know, we'll fix that at some point. Framed in 1997, which is really, really cool. So I don't know if this was an official release or where it came from, but either way, we're super happy to have it as like a centerpiece right above our TV. Final Fantasy VIII selfie, and then we have the wonderful and giant Sephiroth statue that came with the Rebirth Special Edition. I think it's gorgeous. It's huge too. It has to have its own special spot. Tonberry, posable Vivi, a little Moogle purse, and then a book about the Turks. Story about the Turks. And of course we have some of the Final Fantasy VIII figures, Siren, Irvine, and Squall. And then we actually have more way over here. Behind here we have the full YRP set. So Pain, Riku, and Yuna from Final Fantasy X-2. Beautiful figures. The game's alright, but the figures are awesome. It's time to go through all the games. There's a lot of them.
How many are there?
I don't know. You count with us. Let's do this. So the cool thing about original PlayStation is we knew we were the right ones for each other because we had two of everything. Like she had her copies and I had mine. So generally, she bought all the original Black Label Final Fantasies, which are primarily Square Soft. And then I ended up buying some of them in Greatest Hits and then some of the Square Enix ones in Greatest Hits. But we have Final Fantasy 9, 8, 7, Anthology, Chronicles, Tactics, Origins.
The only one we don't have two of is Final Fantasy VIII.
Because she didn't like it. Natural progression is to PS2, Dirge of Cerberus.
Burst?
Yes, exactly. This one's great. So this was actually signed by James Arnold Taylor. We have a video of James Arnold Taylor, who is the original voice of Tidus, doing the Tidus laugh. So we'll link that right up here so you can check it out. It's such a fun video, and he's such a great guy. So we had him sign my original copy of 10. 10-2. It's a good game. It's fine. And then 12. PSP was full of good Final Fantasies, so start with those guys.
This idiot.
Don't really play Final Fantasy fighting games, but they're alright.
I might give him a try someday.
Yeah. We do have the Japanese version of Typo, because it didn't come out in the US on the PSP.
The best way to play Final Fantasy Tactics?
Oh, this one's so good. War of the Lions is great. They ported that version to mobile, by the way, so if you want to play it on mobile, you can play War of the Lions. I have it on mobile too. 1, 2, and 4.
And what's cool about Final Fantasy IV is the after years.
Yes.
On the PSP version. So it's a continuation of the story with the kids of some of the main characters.
And then Crisis Core. Next we have kind of a rough generation of Final Fantasy. We have the Crystal Bearers. It's an okay game. Not very well reviewed. And then Chocobo's Dungeon. Obviously we bought this used later. Not a big fan of this game. I just don't like how it plays.
I loved playing this game. You could play 4 players with your GBA games as like your menus, basically.
Final Fantasy 13. This is actually my 4th copy of this game. I went through a bunch of scratched versions because a Blockbuster disc stuck on the inside of my PS3 and scratched all the rest of my discs up. So the security label.
Yeah, the security label.
So I kept losing games and buying new ones. If you can't get past the 30-hour mark, then try again. She also stopped playing it until I convinced her, and she made it through it and she liked it.
Yeah, so the game really opens up to you at the 30-hour mark, and if you can get through that first bit, like I know a lot of people are like, boo, that's a lot to get through, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. The cool thing about 13 is that's when they started doing if you pre-order it at different sites, you get different pre-order bonuses. So I think this one was the Best Buy pre-order bonus book. It's a little hardcover episode 1 kind of storybook. And then GameStop had its own player's guide pre-release bonus. So I wanted both because I love Final Fantasy 13. 13.2, 13.2 Special Edition, and then on PS3 as well, the 10.2
Remake. Remaster.
Remaster, yes, that's the word. Speaking of HD remasters, there's 10 and 10.2. This is sealed because I actually bought this digital on my Vita before I ever played it.
Because if you buy a used copy, the X2 is a download code,
right?
And you're probably not going to be able to get that
exactly
on the used market.
And the PlayStation Store is still online, so if you want to play 13 or 10.2 on the Vita, get it now. The DS games, so Final Fantasy 3. This is a 3D version of 3, and I think it's not as good as the Pixel Remaster version. If you want to play like what 3 was supposed to be like, just translated, play the Pixel Remaster version. Then 4. This is a good way to play 4. Chocobo Tales, it's fine. This one's sealed. Played it a little bit, it's fine. And then Echoes in Time, again, it's fine.
So we have Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings.
Oh man, I wanted to like this game.
It's about Pinello and Vaughn tactics.
Yeah, it's an RTS kind of like you build your party and go against things. It's unique gameplay. I didn't find it very fun. For Heroes of Light, decent game. A lot of grinding. Ring of Fates. Just a generic, it's a lot like, what's it called? Heroes of Light, a generic Final Fantasy game.
Then here's Tactics A2.
Yes. Also, this is, a fantastic game. Real quick mention for 3DS, we already showed you Final Fantasy Explorers. We also have Theater Rhythm, and we have Curtain Call.
I actually pre-ordered this. And gifted it to you for your birthday?
That's right, way back when. Modern consoles. There's a lot of modern console stuff. So the last of the Theater Rhythms, Funnel Bar line. This is the best Theater Rhythm, not counting the other one we have that we didn't show you yet.
It's got everything.
Everything. What's cool is as you play through like Final Fantasy VI, then you unlock the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VI, and you can just leave it on. Like we use it as a jukebox, and it has its own little jukebox built in of all the Final Fantasy music. It's so good. Get Final Fantasy Barline even if you just want it for the music. 10.10.2. She actually witnessed this one being beat on PS4 when we played Zodiac Age. Crystal Chronicles S. This one got horrible reviews, unfortunately. It did not port well.
Yeah, they kind of ruined the multiplayer aspect, and that was what made the GameCube version great. Yeah.
And then just 2 others that we figured we had to have. Final Fantasy VII. This is the twin pack that came out. And then 9, which I love that they put the sideways art on it. PS4 is very Final Fantasy heavy, so we'll start at the top here. Here's 12 the Zodiac Age. This is the Steelbook edition. This is 15 Deluxe. We thought 15 was fine. The story was kind of unfortunate, but
for me it was disappointing.
Yeah. This is the Type O Steelbook. We actually have the big box for Type O. We'll show you in a minute. Type O was also just kind of, I could see why it didn't come to the US. It was really dark and the gameplay was fine. 7 Remake, this is what comes with the First Class edition that we have on the shelf where Cloud is. Did not play 14, but we wanted to at least own it so we can say we have all of them. So we have a version of 14. There's a couple different Pixel remasters. This is the newer release, and you can tell it's a newer release because it doesn't have a little logo here. When you see the one with the logo, that's the one that's really rare and was a first edition. But it's cool to have the anniversary edition nonetheless. Final Fantasy VII, this is the remake, again, the deluxe edition. This came with the First Class edition. 7 Integrate. They added the Yuffie DLC to the original remake and then put it on the PS5.
Crisis Core.
The Crisis Core, yeah, which I thought the original was fine, but now we have this one just in case we want to jump into it.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yes, my shirt's 16. Some of the special editions. So this is Final Fantasy 14. This is the original Final Fantasy 14. And this is one I played.
This is the Apology Final Fantasy 14.
Yes, it's not called Final Fantasy A Realm Reborn. This is the original one. So it was really poorly made. I was playing this around the time I was playing World of Warcraft, so I was into MMOs. I have broken the addiction from MMOs and I will not go back. World of Final Fantasy Collector's Edition for PS4. I didn't like this game.
It was a chibi Final Fantasy game for sure. So you might have seen us pick this up. This is Final Fantasy Collection Anniversary Package. It's got the games and a clock with Terra on it.
Original Mitsubishi battery. This is the Japanese Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
Yeah. Final Fantasy Typo. This is what the steelbook came in. Again, the game is fine, but we do have it. It's neat. We've been wanting to pick this one up for a while. We finally got it for a decent price locally from a store way out west. And it's all the Judge busts, basically, from Final Fantasy 12, but for Zodiac Age. Love this collector's edition. Love it.
This item is incredibly rare.
It's my favorite Final Fantasy item in our entire collection. So this is a Final Fantasy 13 DualShock 3. And it was made specifically in China only, apparently. And it's really hard to find. This one is sealed. If you look in the back, there's actually the game right back there. Along with, this is the DualShock 3. And the DualShock 3 has lightning on one side of it. Super rare. Not only is it one of my favorite Final Fantasies, but man, a white PS3 controller. Super cool. We're both Final Fantasy fans, so we decided to have a Final Fantasy themed wedding. We actually walked down the aisle to a harpist playing the Crystal theme. It was glorious. My best friend John is also a graphic designer, and he created us incredible wedding invitations. So this was our wedding invitation back in 2015. If you notice, it's actually from Final Fantasy X. It's the same art, but it has her and then me proposing in it. And it's actually from this photo here on the back, and there's the actual photo of me proposing to her in Japan. So he took that artwork and he put it on that. How neat is that? And at the bottom we did the cool things like, you know, 2-player mode engaged, all that kind of stuff.
And it's got a spine art on it too.
Oh yeah, spine art. It has inside art of the two Moogles. And just a photo of us. But yeah, we were super proud of these. We sent these out to our attendees and then recorded and filmed the wedding and then sent them the blank disc, or the disc afterwards that had our logo on it too, that they could put in them. So it was like the whole...
Yeah, so it's complete.
It's now a complete game, or wedding, you know, visual, the DVDs back then. We actually also had a cake topper that was Moogle themed, and we'll show you a shot of that. We don't like to move it around much, so this is what it looked like. We had it made by a friend of my mom's who's an artist, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It got broken in the mail 3 times on the way to us, but he was able to get it repaired in time, and it was just stunning. We loved it.
Yeah, so it's made out of like plaster and
a wire frame,
and it's all hand painted.
We have more boxed figures. We have a Diablo from Final Fantasy VIII, and look how beautiful he is.
And then here's the Final Fantasy VII set. It's got a chocobo and a frog status.
Yeah, frog status. Frog is cool.
Yeah, we got Aerith, Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa.
Then of course figures for one of the best Final Fantasy games, 8.
More Final Fantasy 8 figures.
I love Final Fantasy 8. So the cool thing about this is Edea. I never see an Edea figure. The others I've seen, but the Edea one's super unique. Here we have more Final Fantasy figures. These are loose primarily. I'm going to show you really quick kind of what we have. Basically, all the Final Fantasy 8 characters. I think this is Diablo. I mean, it looks like a weird Diablo, but it is Diablo. An Iron Giant. The original PC version of Final Fantasy 7 or 8. So there is an outer box for this. It's all shiny that we don't have, but the thing just fell off the bottom of it. And lastly, we have, this was a Square Enix special. I think you bought it with like Square Enix points. You know, when you could register your Square Enix products back in the day on their website, you could use the points to buy stuff. And this is a Final Fantasy VIII pocket watch. But yeah. It's got Squall and Renoa embracing in it. Lisa's brother Leif found them for us, probably at thrift, but yeah. Garage sale, that's right. And got them all for us. I'm super happy to have them all nicely displayed in here. Huge shout out to Heather from Pixel Parts for creating this amazing custom Pixel Parts sign with the little Moogles on it. I love it, so make sure you go buy her stuff. So we have one more item that we're going to show you. It's downstairs, and it's kind of a big deal to us. We've been wanting it for a long time.
Yeah, it's like 800-pound big deal.
Yeah. And here is the amazing part of the collection for Final Fantasy. Check this out. This is Theatrhythm All-Star Carnival with copyrighted music playing, so I'm going to keep talking to make sure that it doesn't pick up. But it's the full setup with a little computer inside. There's Zell playing around. But yeah, it's incredible. This is the only like full-size arcade we own, and it's the only one we really need. And then there's one last thing that we just received that we're going to open live, and it's probably our new favorite part of our Final Fantasy collection.
Yeah, and it's very limited and very, very special.
Very. I'm so excited to show you.